Greetings, human beings of the internet. My name is Joe, and thank you for joining me today for No One Has to Die. Now, before we go into the finale, the end act, the last timeline, I'm going to do my best to explain how I think the time travel mechanism works in this game. Because I said at the end of the last episode I didn't really understand a few aspects of it, but while I was editing I kind of took my time and looked through what each of the characters were saying, and I think now I've got to grips with how it works. So we know that the time machine only sends the person's consciousness back or forward in time. And Lionel down here said that if you try to send your consciousness forward in time, you die because your body is not occupied by a consciousness. And Steve said, this is the bit that confused me. Steve said that when they did the, it was with the parakeets, I think, they had all these parrots. And they sent a bunch of them back in time, but they all died. And the only one that was alive was one that already knew the word. So I believe that when a consciousness is sent back in time, it starts a brand new timeline. But in the current timeline, the body dies. If that makes any sense. I'm thinking it's because if you didn't die, then your consciousness would go back in time, but your present body would have nothing. And it would just be sitting there, and your consciousness would never catch up. Because say my consciousness went 5 years into the past, then my present body wouldn't have a consciousness, and then as time went on, I would always be 5 years behind. If that made any sense. So in the present, you'd be dead forever, because I can't describe it. This is why I like this game. It's a really interesting take on time travel. I'm a sci-fi guy. I like weird time travel paradoxes that make your mind break when you try and think about it. I really enjoyed this game, but enough talking, enough hypothesizing. Let's see what happens in the final timeline. Okay, we are going to get into it, but my prediction is that Christina and Lionel all got sent back in time when they went in the Phoenix machine. I know that Christina definitely went in the machine. Lionel definitely... Actually, I think all four of them might have gone in the machine. Did they all go into the machine at the end of their own timelines? I'm not sure, because there was a few bad endings. But I definitely know that Christina did. I definitely know that Lionel did. And I think Steve did. Maybe they all went back in the machine, so maybe they've all come back to this timeline. Lionel, what the hell is going on here? I went into the... Oh, Tempest, not Phoenix, Tempest. I went into the Tempest room like you told me, and now I'm back here in the control room. Wait, Christina has logged on? Yes, I'm right! What? How did I end up here? Everyone has come back to this timeline from going into the Tempest machine. Chris, you're alive! I knew you were alive! Steve, I thought you were dead! Me? Oh, that's confusing. You guys, you remember. You finally remember. Troy, this is all just part of some trick of yours, isn't it? No, I have no idea what's going on. You think I'm going to believe this after you lit this fire? I didn't light the fire! You don't just get to change your story now. Steve, he's telling the truth. What do you mean? Amazing! I knew this would happen sometime somewhere, but I never thought I'd be the one to witness it. You know what's going on here? Yes, but for now, there are more pressing matters. Does anyone here have one of the security codes? I already told you mine last time, RFTS. But did anyone find any new ones? Oh, I found a blue fire which had IRHH in it. I found one which had SOEE. Perfect, visitor. I confessed that just before I cut out last time we spoke, I found a file containing the code EMAS. Now quickly, enter all the codes. Oh, I know. Chill out, Lionel. Jesus Christ. Okay, 4 codes received, full access granted. You can now lock 4 fire doors at a time instead of just 1. Lionel! Tell us what the hell is going on here. Why is everyone alive again? There's no way I would have enough time for that now. I understand what's going on. No casualties expected. No one has to die. Yes! Now we have the security codes. We're all safe. Let's get out of here then. Okay, lock. What if I just let this guy die? Ah, come on, game. Alright, no one has to die. So you go there, you turn on the water. Skibidi-doo, turn off the water. Everyone's okay. Good times around. Fantastic, we're all still alive. Great, but you still owe us all an explanation. How is everybody alive again? How did I end up back where I was when the fire started? Why aren't those rooms fire damaged anymore? Visitor, do you remember what I told you before? Yes, you invented a time machine. Impossible! Well, it was a bit different to a time machine, I guess. It carries your thoughts and memories through time instead of your body. Correct so far. It works going forward, but going backwards... It works going forward? Going backwards, you killed someone. They never return to their body. Christina's mum. See, this is what I think it means by Christina lives. I think it's Christina's mum. She's still alive, but in a different timeline. Okay. That is the story as I told it. That person you murdered was my mother, asshole. What? Your mother died of a brain tumor. You told me so. That was a lie. Lionel killed my mother to test some impossible time travel bullshit. So I lit the fire. I lit it to kill Lionel and wreck his corporation before they ruined any more lives. Chris, I don't believe it. I had suspected as much. Christina, your mother is not dead. What do you mean by that? I've seen her body. You took her brain. Oh, okay. Lock. I guess just lock. And then just do your thing, fire. You ain't touching anybody. Very difficult puzzle. Lionel, answers. Your mother is not dead. This is going to be hard to explain. Let's see if I'm right about this whole time travel broken brain thing. When we sent your mother back in time, she never returned to her body. However, there was not a single fault in our logic. The machine was designed perfectly. The machine in what's in that Tempest room is what's in that Tempest room, right? Correct. Anyway, we conducted many experiments and eventually came to one fascinating conclusion. When our subject had travelled forward through time, the future was not set, and so time would bend to accommodate our time traveller. That is, the consciousness travelling through time would remain in its own timeline. But when going backwards, I think I kind of got it. Things were not so simple. The consciousness would become lost in the mess that is the time-space. It would... Oh, okay, maybe I wasn't right. It would find a host, one which owned the consciousness and one which existed at the time it had been sent back to. Oh, so what I think he's saying is when you send someone back in time, they're going into a brain which already hosts a consciousness. But if you go into the future, since the mind doesn't exist, it's kind of just, you just jump into your brain and I guess it works. But when going back, your past self is still there and you've taken over the brain. But it would not always find its host in its own universe. You've lost me. Our research would suggest that there are nearly infinite amount of universes, each nearly identical, with only minute differences between them. So when Christina's mother travelled backwards through time, she was not alone. Trillions of her, maybe even more, travelled too. They would land randomly into different timelines. Some would land in the same timeline, and one consciousness would override the other. Okay, so it's a bit different than what I thought. It's a bit of a weird one. In some timelines, no one would ever know that Christina's mother had even left, or that the consciousness that returned to her body wasn't from their universe. A rare few consciousnesses would land back where they began in their own universe, but many timelines were left like here, in this universe where Christina's mother's consciousness left this world, but no other consciousness returned to fill her body. Okay. Because of this, the body remained empty and Christina's mother was effectively dead, but her consciousness lives on in another time, another universe. I'm not buying a word of this. I don't blame you, man. But it explains everything. This is why everything kept happening over and over again. This is why we're all here. Yes, it took me a while to figure out, but we have all been brought here by the Tempest machine. Visitor, you remember a time in which you let everyone die apart from myself, correct? Yeah, then you gave me access to the Tempest room. Well, each of these people remember a different reality, one where they were the only survivor of the fire. That's right. I had to wait and do nothing while Chris died. I had to wait and do nothing as all of you died, time and time again. At the end of each of these realities, the survivor entered the Tempest machine, which had had its clock set to the beginning of this disaster as a security measure. God. When each of us entered the machine, we were randomly shot into another universe. Some of us would have ended back where we started, and no one else would remember what had just taken place. But there would be a few universes like this where, by chance, all of us came from 5 different universes into one. And that is how we are all here together now, with memories of different futures. Whoa! But the chance of that happening would be practically zero. Actually, with as many universes as there are, it was incredibly likely. There are probably hundreds of universes in which the same thing has happened as is happening here. Nothing about this seems incredibly likely, but it is the truth. Oh my god, guys. Whew, are you guys keeping up with this? This is some trippy shit. Alright, go right, lock, and then turn on the water, and then go forward 1 step, and then turn off the water, and then everyone should be alive. Oh, man, this is exhausting to read. Okay. Hey guys, all of your paths meet here, right? They do? I suppose they must. Soon we'll be able to talk in person. I can't wait to see you again, Chris. I'm so glad you're alive. Surely Chris is going to jail. She tried to commit arson. I can't either, Steve. I can't believe you are alive. You are both alive. Well, hurry up. I'm already here. Okay, coming through now. I can see you. I'm in. Me too. Group hug. Hey, has anyone unlocked the door for me so I can come down too? Anyone? Guys, stop talking in person for a second and look at the messages, goddammit. Now what do I do? Am I going to die? Visitor! Christina, can you ask Lionel to open the door for me? No, sorry, I don't think I have the chance to. Is something wrong? Where are you? I stepped out for a moment. I'm at the Tempest entrance. I haven't been entirely upfront with all of you. What do you mean? I've been here before. Oh, weren't you listening to Lionel? We've all been here before. No, I've been here before, to a timeline just like this one where we all managed to survive. Except things went a little differently that time. For instance, I asked Lionel where the controls for the Tempest machine were, and he told me they were on the floor B2 in my section of the building. Later, he explained that the machine can't send consciousnesses back before the first time it was turned on, which was when my mother was sent back through time. Wait. So consciousnesses can't travel back before the first time the machine was turned on. Probably because it can't go past the time where the machine existed. So I thought I'd give things another try, and I hopped back into the Tempest machine. Don't tell me. This time, while we were on floor B2, I set the time machine back as far as it could go to the moment I lost my mother. I'm going back 3 years to find my mum. That is crazy! What if you just end up in another universe where she disappeared? Then I'll break into here. I'll travel again. What about the people who care about you in this universe? What about Steve? You should know better than anyone what this feels like. You've had to choose one person's happiness over another's time and time again. Here comes the sad music. In the timeline you came from, you even chose to kill me. I wish I could have Steve and my mother both at once. But I don't have that choice. I spent too long wishing she was with me to turn back now. Besides, in this world I'm a murderer and an arsonist. This is no place for me here. Not a bad plan, actually, to avoid getting arrested. Christina, you're not going to stop me, are you? No. No, I'm not. Tell Steve I'm sorry, and that I love him. Love him? Oh, that's nice. Tell him that I hope we meet again somewhere. Sometime, but for now, goodbye. Goodbye, and good luck. Thanks. I think I'll need it. Christina has disconnected. Goodbye, Christina. The end. Ah, wow, my head hurts. I think I'm gonna be sick. Well, that was the end of No One Has to Die. What a confusing, brain-twisting, flumblonxing mess of a game. That was a word I just made up because there was no adjective to describe how confused I am. But this was fun. I really, really like confusing sci-fi stuff. I know this series probably isn't for everyone, and I probably wouldn't have made it into a YouTube series if I knew it was going to be like this, because I think it's quite a niche audience. Like, sci-fi stuff isn't for everyone, and it's pretty complicated and not easygoing. But I am someone who likes complicated sci-fi gibberish. So I had a great time, and hopefully some of you guys had a good time listening to me read this confusing nonsense as well. But that's all for now, so thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Steve, no! You don't deserve to die! No one deserves to die, Chris! Without you. Don't you ignore me now, are you? Just whatever happens, it's the last time we'll ever talk to each other. This isn't how I wanted things to go.